Okay, so my goal was to get common denominators first, which I think they both match now. That's nice. So I'm going to put it into a single fraction with that common denominator, the x plus 2 times the x minus 1. And please put the parentheses around each of those factors. Yeah. The numerator, though, on 1, 2, and 3, I didn't really have any distributing to do. I think that's what's a little different here on number 4. I've got to distribute in the numerators. So I'm going to do my 3 times x and 3 times 2. So there's my 3x plus 6. Really, anything multiplied by 1 is itself. So this is still an x minus 1. Now, if I put this minus sign, if I put that minus sign right there, does that mean I'm done? If not, then what do I have to change? Yeah.
You have to change the negative from the 1 to the positive.
Oh, so I'm like subtracting this whole thing? I'm not subtracting just the x. I'm subtracting that entire numerator. So I'm going to basically do what you were saying. You were saying I need to put a negative on the negative 1 as well, turn it into a positive 1. In other words, I would distribute that negative to my entire numerator, not just the first thing that I write. I have to distribute that negative to both of those guys. Okay, so that's kind of what's new in the notes today. Previously, we've done addition overall. Because of the subtraction in this one, I've got to distribute my negative. So I'm going to end up with a negative x and a positive 1. And I think the rest of this will stay the same. Still got my 3x plus 6. Still got my factored denominator here. Okay, all right. So last thing I'm going to do on this one is I'm going to combine my like terms. It looks like I get, for my x's, I got a 3x and this is like a negative 1x. So a 3 minus 1 is 2. I've got a 2x. All right, all right. My constants, I got a 6 and a 1. Those add up to 7. All right. Denominator is staying the same. And notice that I've left the denominator in factored form like this whole time. Your homework tells you to put in factored form. In fact, they want the entire final answer in factored form. If I could factor the numerator even further, I would. But my constants, 2 and 7, I don't think anything goes in evenly to a 2 and a 7. And then my variable, this is already a plain x. It's not an x squared. I don't think there's much I can do to break down that numerator. So I will leave this as my final answer. Okay, any questions on number 4? So in the class, we're good. What about you guys at home? Any questions on number 4? Takes 1 or 2. We're good, okay. No questions? We're all good? Okay. All right, if you guys are good, then let's, like I said, we're gonna step it up a notch. I do have to factor one of the denominators on this number 5. Which, if you guys need to go brush up on that page that I posted on Canvas, the factoring page, you guys can use that if you'd like to brush up. You can't use it on the test, so I would start getting familiar with it. But this one should look somewhat familiar, like the a squared minus b squared. All right, so I'm going to rewrite my 4 as a perfect square. I'm going to rewrite my 4 as like 2 squared. So there's like my a squared minus b squared. Difference of squares is what it's called. All right, so I will factor that into an x plus 2 times x minus 2. All right, so I did have to factor the denominator on this guy. All right, then. Other than that, I think everything else is the same as what I had on number 4. So I'm going to start calling on some people and kind of pick up what I did on number 4. Let's try to divide that there. All right, so the purple stuff, getting my common denominators on number 4. Let's look at what do I need for a common denominator. So let's see here, Jack, I'm going to come your way. for the common denominators. And then Manatu, I'm gonna come to you for the blue stuff, the distributing in a sec here. So just be aware. So Jack, what do I get for my common denominator on number 5? Okay, so add an x plus 2 to your, so your first fraction right here. It has an x minus 2 in the denominator, but I do not have an x plus 2. Good eye. Okay, which means I'm going to, when you say add it, I think you mean like I got to multiply by the x plus 2. That's what you're talking about, right? Multiply by x plus 2 over x plus 2. I'm assuming that's what you're talking about. Okay. Is there anything else that I need for a common denominator? No, good eye. Actually, they both have the same 2 factors, x plus 2, x minus 2. X plus 2, x minus 2. They're exactly the same. So I can put that into my common denominator now. It's going to be a single fraction with that common denominator. Looking good, looking good. All right, and then Manatu, I'm going to come your way on the blue stuff here, like distributing in the numerator. So Manatu, if I distribute in my numerator, what do I get off of this first fraction, first numerator here? Oh, x squared plus 2x. Nice. You did x times x for your x squared, x times 2 for your 2x. Nice. And then, okay. Oh, and you put the -3. So you kind of already took care of this negative. I didn't really have much to distribute it on like I did on number 4. So yeah, you just kind of put your negative on the 3. And we got, yeah, there we go. Looking good. Now, I told you that on the homework, they're going to want you to have it in factored form. That actually helps it simplify when I factor it. I can tell like what divides out and what doesn't. So let's look at the numerator. I got some more factoring to do. This guy's numerator, x squared plus 2x minus 3. Let's see for a sec here. Edward, are you getting 2 numbers that multiply to be -3 and add up to a positive 2?
1 and 3.
1 and 3. Okay, both positive, both negative. One's positive, one's negative.
Any of them come in.
Oops, I don't know why I read that.
And the 3 is the 1 is negative.
The one, so like -1, and then the 3 is positive.
Yeah.
Like that. Nice. Okay, so let's see if I'm comparing these guys. -3 times -1 gives me the -3. Good. -3 plus 1 is this positive 2. Yeah, looking good. All right, and then my denominator here, x plus 2 times x minus 2. Can I divide out any of these? Oh, none of them are the same. This is as good as it's going to get right here. That's my factored form. Okay, do I have any questions on number 5? No. Number 4, I didn't have to factor any of the denominators. Number 5, I had to factor one of them. Number 6, I'm going to have to factor both of the denominators. I haven't really had to deal with much of the numerators. I've kind of been messing with the denominators. We'll deal with numerators in a bit. Okay, so I'm going to kind of divide that. All right, so number 6, both fractions have to be factored. All right, so let's see here. I'm going to have Darren, will you factor the first denominator, this guy? You got that one? All right, all right. And then Jennifer, I'll have you do the second denominator. Actually, I take that back. They're both the same, huh? So actually, Jennifer, I'll come to you on another one then. So they actually have common denominators already. That's kind of nice. Let's put them in factored form though. Your homework wants it all in factored form. All right, so Darren, go ahead and factor those. I do know, as far as the numerator goes, because they already have common denominators, an x minus 1 is in my numerator. I can already subtract my numerators because of the common denominators. I do want my denominators in factored form though. So Darren, just let me know what you get for your factored form there. Oh, so super close there. I think we're just off by one little number. So I think I'm going to go with the x minus 2. Actually, x plus 2, excuse me. X plus 2 and then the x minus 1. So I think instead of your 3, I'm using a 2. X plus 2 and x minus 1. The reason I knew that was because these have to multiply together to be this negative 2. And so 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. I think you had a 3 and a 1. But those multiply to be 3. I need my 2 times negative 1 to multiply to be my negative 2. And then they got to add up to, okay, what is this middle number, by the way? Anyway, if I don't see it, what is it? Oh, 1. So my 2 and my negative 1 are supposed to add up to 1. So yeah, this is, Darren, this is what I'm talking about with this plain x right here. I would treat it as like a 1x. Yeah, there you go. So they had to add up to a 1x. Okay. All right, so I went and I already subtracted the numerators. Is there anything else I can do on this? Like, can I factor anymore, simplify down? Yeah. Oh, the x minus 1s. Yeah, you're good, Darren. All right, so I can divide those out, which, okay, what's anything divided by itself, really? Wait, I heard a 1 and a 0, which is it? Was it? 1? 5 over 5, a million over a million, this is all 1? Yeah, I mean, I shouldn't say it works every time. 0 over 0 is not 1, but my point is for the most part, yeah, this is going to be a 1. So that means I better put a 1 in the numerator over my x plus 2. And I think that's as good as it's going to get. If you put parentheses around here, it's not wrong. You're fine if you put parentheses. It's not necessary, though, because there's nothing multiplied outside of those parentheses. I don't really need them in this case. Nice, you guys. All right. Questions on any of these first 6 problems? Girls, because we're gonna step it up a notch. You good with this? Okay. All righty. So then let's go down here. 7 and 8. Oops, there we go. Alrighty, so I do want my denominators in factored form. Let's start with that. And then I'll deal with some common denominators. I'm kind of focusing on the denominators at the beginning, and then by the end, I'm kind of focusing on the numerators. Let's focus on the denominators. Okay, so factoring, let's see here. Where am I at? Jordan, JJ, I'm gonna have you factor the first denominator. We just let me know you heard me, just so I know you're there. Let's see here. Jordan, Julian, JJ, Jordan, you there? Look, we're not there. Okay. All right, let's try this then. So Samantha, will you do the 2x minus 2? Factor that. And then my next one, so Jennifer, I'm going to come back to you. I'm going to have you factor my second denominator. So you girls just let me know what you got for those factors. So just messing with the denominators for now. I'm going to leave the numerators alone. All right, just let me know what you guys get here. All right, so Jennifer, you did the x squared minus 4x plus 3 factored into an x minus 3 times an x minus 1. Let's check this out. The -3 and the -1, they multiply to be the +3. All right, good sign, good sign. And they add up. Let's see, -3 plus -1, or like -3 minus 1, same thing. Ends up with the -4. All right, looking good. So we factored that denominator. What about the first denominator? What'd you get?
And then I got 2, and then in parentheses, x minus 1.
2 in parentheses x minus 1. Okay, so you actually had to factor a little differently. You just did like a greatest common factor. And then, so you guys kind of did it differently, but we totally broke it down as much as we could. And now, as far as my common denominator goes, all right, it's kind of what I was doing up here. I'm looking at what I'm missing, basically.
And then x minus 3.
Oh, so 2 and the x minus 3. The x minus 1 is already the same in both denominators, so I don't really have to worry about that one. Gotta deal with the other factors. Okay, so as far as the 2 goes, I see that in my first fraction. I don't see a 2 anywhere in the second. Well, okay, I don't see in the second denominator. I mean, I see this 2 up here, but that doesn't matter. I'm looking at common denominators, right? I don't see a plain 2 multiplied in the denominator. So yeah, I got to multiply this by a 2 over 2. All right, is there anything that my first fraction is missing? Oh, the x minus 3. So 2's are the same. X minus 1's are the same. The thing that's not the same is the x minus 3. Okay. So we got to multiply this by my x minus 3 over x minus 3. Alrighty, so again, very similar to the steps I have up here. What I had to do on this one, though, is I had to factor both denominators, and I think we might run into something else a little different here. All right, so I've got the common denominators looking good. Keep this 2 and the x minus 1 and the x minus 3, which, by the way, if you put it in a different order, totally the same. Because it's like multiplied. It's 2 times the x minus 1 times the x minus 3, and you can multiply in whatever order you want and get the same thing. So my denominator, if you put it in a different order, that's fine, as long as they're the same factors, but they can be in a different order. All right, numerators though. Numerators. Abby, what do I have to do with the numerators again? This stuff up here, what do I have to do with those again? Oh, multiply them, which, okay, what gets complicated with multiplying these? I guess maybe not what gets, how would you, just tell me, how would you multiply them? Yeah. Distribute, is that what you're going with? Yeah, you distribute. Okay. So Darren, I can't keep it factored because after I distribute this, I get my x squared and my 2x, right? Am I done distributing, by the way? What else do I have to do? Oh, the -3 gets distributed. So I'm kind of, in my mind, I'm considering parentheses around this. I think you guys are used to, when you see the parentheses, that kind of triggers the distribute in your head. So I do have to kind of imagine some parentheses there, and I am distributing to both. There's my -3x and my -6. So Darren, to answer your question, this is a really good question. Why did I have to distribute? And that's because I've got to overall subtract the numerators. In the denominators, I didn't subtract the denominators. I had a common denominator and I just kind of have it going along for the ride. But my numerators, I have to actually subtract. And I can't subtract them if they still have all those parentheses around it. I have to distribute first, and then I can go ahead and subtract and combine my like terms, all that good stuff. So yeah, let's see here. First of all, we are subtracting. I've got to subtract the whole numerator, that whole thing. So I'm going to kind of follow what Abby was doing. I'm going to do some more distributing. And I'm kind of, in my mind, this is like parentheses around it. Like I got to distribute the 2 to both of those guys. So those parentheses, I'm telling you, if you need to make yourself a little star, a little note for yourself, that's where I tend to see some mistakes. Those parentheses, the distributing to everything tends to be a mistake. So if that's what you got to do, go for it. I'm going to distribute my 2. I get a -4x and a -2. right. So this is all, that's all up in the numerator. I'm going to simplify my numerator even further. I still got to deal with that negative. So I'm going to distribute the negative to both. All righty. My first one here staying the same. I guess, yeah, we'll deal with that in a sec. But this is going to turn into a plus 4x and a plus 2. We distributed that negative to both. There we go. And that is still all over my common denominator. See if I combine these guys. So you got x squared. I think I have a bunch of like terms. Let's see. Come on. All right, so I've got my 2x, my negative 3x, and my 4x. So let's see, 2 minus 3 is a negative 1, plus my 4 gets to a 3. I've got a 3x if I combine all those like terms. All right, and then constants, I think I got a couple of constants. I got the negative 6 and the positive 2. So that gives me a negative 4. Okay, denominator hasn't changed. All right, let's do Tristan K. What do I have to do next? Because that's not my final answer.
You have to factor that numerator.
Oh, factor the numerator. Okay, so if you did factor the numerator, what does it turn into?
X plus 4, x minus 1.
Nice, x plus 4 and x minus 1. Like your positive 4 times the negative 1 is this negative 4. Positive 4 and negative 1 added together to a positive 3. So got it all taken care of. Looking good. All right, which kind of helps me simplify this down. You're supposed to have a simplified answer in your for your final answer on big ideas. I think they want it all simplified, and that means I've got to divide out those x minus 1s. Is there anything else I can divide out? Do you guys see anything else? Like, can I do like a 4 divided by 2? Can I simplify that? Oh no, why not? You guys are totally right. I can't, but why? Oh, not multiply. This is like a 4 added to the x. So I can't, my division and addition, those are not inverses. No, I'm not going to cancel each other out at all. Okay, so this actually is as good as it's going to get. I've got the x plus 4 in the numerator. I've got the 2 times the x minus 3 in the denominator. And there we go. There's our final answer. All right, so I like drilled you guys on the adding fractions. Does this seem pretty familiar though? Like that negative is off, but we're okay with the rest? No? So I want to see what kind of questions you guys have that you're struggling with so far. You guys online? You guys got any questions? Anything we need help with? Like, look, that's like a bunch of steps right there. What was that, 6 steps? Yeah.
I don't have any questions like about this stuff like that, but I was worried about like fractions in.
Oh, fractions inside of fractions. We're gonna take a look at that. Yeah, we'll look at that. So yeah, we're gonna keep building on it. But we're okay with this stuff so far? Okay, so here's what I want to make sure. You guys at home, remember we talked about this yesterday? When I have you guys do a problem on your own, I want you to like honestly get going. And if you run into questions, let me know. I'm happy to answer questions. But I want to see, out of all the stuff we've been working on, I want to see if you guys can do it like on your own, okay? All right, so I'm gonna give you a couple minutes. Like I said, everybody at home, you guys also, people in the classroom and at home, everybody, get going on number 8. I want to see if you can get from start to finish. If you run into questions, let me know. So once they have common denominators, then I will write it like that. As of right now, their denominators are different, so I can't do that quite yet.
So once you subtract the x plus one.
So I have to, so you're kind of at the first one there where I did it in block, I had to leave them separate fractions still. So yeah, I can't put it all into a single fraction until I find the common denominators. So that was like the one down with the blue, yellow, and black.
Mhm.
Second one there, but yeah, I had to get my common denominators first, and then I can combine them.
Okay. And then
Minus still. Yep, yep.
I needed help with the factor.
Okay.
So
So I think you got a couple methods. GCF is usually what I start with. I don't think this one does have GCF. There's nothing in common there.
so would I just do local?
So then I go to the next step. I would go, what multiplies to be, was that a negative 12? Okay, so what multiplies to be negative 12 and adds up to negative 1?
Oh. Negative 12 and 1.
Negative 12 times 1 is negative 12. Negative 12 plus 1 is negative 11. So I don't think this is negative 1.
Oh.
Give me some other options. Maybe multiply by 12.
Negative 6.
Negative 6 and 2, okay. Negative 6 times 2 is negative 12. Negative 6 plus 2 is negative 4. Ooh, okay, so we're getting closer. Is there anything else that multiplies to be negative 4?
Negative 3. 4.
Okay, negative 3 times 4 is negative 12, okay. Negative 3 plus 4 is a positive 1. Ooh, we're just off by a sign. What if we swap it? What if I do, instead of negative 3, positive 4? What if I do positive 4, negative 3? Positive 4 times negative 3, negative 12, okay. Positive 4 and negative 3, add to a positive 1 still. Oh, so I think I need a negative 4. Negative 4 plus 3. So yeah, my negative 4 and my positive 3, those are going to be like in my factors would be like an x minus 4 and an x plus 3.
Oh,
Does that make sense?
thank you.
Yeah. Right. Hey, you guys at home, will you just message me what you got? I want to check and see if we're all on the same page. It doesn't have to be perfect, you guys. Just message me what you got. I just want to see where we're at. All right, how we doing? Oh, factors and everything. Oh, okay, you're on the last step. Yeah, I'm good. So, that's the common denominator. Oh, it's because I think you just got the problem. In 12x. Yeah. Yeah. So I was like, what? There's nothing wrong there. I think it was just the way you wrote it. It's fine. All right, good. All right. She's gonna do just combine like term and numerator. All right. All right, thanks, Anna, Jason. Yeah, keep it coming, guys. I want to see what we got. I've only got 2 of them at home. I've only got 2 of them sent in so far. Once you're done, just message me. Let me know what you got.
So for the second denominator, we're going to find out what times 3 negative 48 divided by 4.
Ooh, if it was 3 different terms, so there's 1 minus another term minus another term minus 3 different terms. This one only has 2 different terms. So I think I'd probably start with a GCF. Is there anything that goes evenly to a 12 and 48?
Okay.
In fact, the biggest, the greatest common factor.
Oh.
The biggest number that goes into 12 and 48.
Is it cool if I go to the
Yeah.
When you distribute like this number, do you have to go to each?
Ooh, good question. No, you do not, because if you did go to, if you went to each, you would be kind of doing 3, because then you distribute these together, so you would actually be doing like 3 times 3, which is like 9 there.
Oh, so you distribute like this to this and then that to that.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Oh, don't worry, Jennifer, everybody feels like they got it wrong. Darren, you're looking at the numerator? All right. So Darren, what's your numerator currently looking like? Oh, you got, okay, cool, sounds good. I still am missing quite a few. Let's see. Nice, Jack, okay. Oh, interesting, Henry. So it won't load. Can you see what I'm projecting or what I have up for you guys? Can you see that? Okay, you can see that one. Okay. But you can't open the notes to like print it out and stuff. Yeah, that's kind of a pain. Luckily, I don't have any graphs on this one or something, so hopefully writing it yourself isn't too shabby. All right. So I think for the most part, what I've seen is maybe being off by a few negatives here and there. Other than that, I think for the most part, I'm impressed. Right? I think we're doing pretty good. That means that you guys should be able to do the homework pretty well. All right, so I'm going to go through this same steps that I did before. I'm going to factor my denominators, which because I have 3 terms here, I knew I had to figure out 2 separate factors, you know, that multiply to be -12 and add up to a -1. I think we were going with, which one did we go with? Multiplies to be -12, adds up to -1.
Oh, x minus 4 and x plus 3.
Nice, x minus 4, x plus 3. So my -4 times 3 is -12, okay? And -4 plus 3 is this -1, which they didn't write a 1 there. Are you guys okay considering that as a -1, even if they didn't write it? Okay with that? All right, so that's why we going with those 2 factors. The numerator, I have not messed with the numerator at all. Denominator on my second one, I would start with the GCF, which I don't know if you guys remember, but that's pretty much what I start with every time. I didn't have a GCF on this one, so I kind of moved on. But I usually start looking at a GCF. And in this case, my GCF was, what'd you get for your GCF?
On that one?
Yeah, on that one. Like what goes into 12 and 48?
I got lost on the way to see what you're doing.
I thought you read it.
No, I did the last one. I just got really confused on that one. So as soon as I looked at it, I was like, what?
Oh, you did. You got 12. Yeah, you got your 12. 12 goes into 12 and 12 goes into 48. I think you already had it.
It's the, okay, that's how it is.
Yeah, you got it. GCF, the greatest common factor was 12, totally. So let's see, when I factor out the 12, I'm left with my x, and then 48 divided by 12 is 4, right? So I have like an x minus 4. All right, numerator I have not messed with. All right, as far as what they have in common, so far, they both have the x minus 4 in common. All right, this x plus 3 is in my first fraction. I don't see an x plus 3 in the denominator of my second fraction. So I'm going to multiply by x plus 3 over x plus 3. All right. So both the x minus 4 and the x plus 3 are taken care of. On to the next, 12. I see that in my second denominator. I don't see the 12 in my first denominator. So I'm going to multiply by 12 over 12. Okay. which as far as distributing goes, I don't have much distributing. I have to multiply these together. It's true. I'm going to get a 12x. This guy, I have a bit of distributing. I get a 5x and a 15. But it is overall subtracting that whole shebang, right? I need a subtracting the 5x plus 15. All right, so now, because we have common denominators, they each have the 12, the x minus 4, and the x plus 3. Because they have common denominators, it's going to stay that common denominator for the rest of the problem. But I was allowed to condense it into one fraction now because I have the common denominators. Oh, Darren, lots of people do that. Don't worry about it. But you're good now? As long as you got it, we're fine. Okay, cool. So now I'm going to distribute my negative. So I got a negative 5x, a minus 15. Okay. I got my 12x here. Denominator still hasn't changed. I will combine some like terms. Looks like in my numerator, I get a 12x minus 5x, which let's see, 12 minus 5 is what, 7x? 7x? Can I factor my 7x minus 15? Anything I can factor out of that? No, nothing goes into the 7 and the 15 evenly. All right, so that's like as good as it's going to get right there. All right, and honestly, as I was looking around the classroom and the stuff that you guys sent online, it looks like this is pretty dang close. Maybe we were off by a little negative here and there, something like that. But other than that, I think we were doing pretty good. So this is what's going to be on your homework. Last little bit, I know I'm about to run out of time here. I want to focus on the fractions inside of fractions, right? So let's talk about this for a sec. My goal number one, first thing I want to do is have a single fraction divided by a single fraction, which as of right now, I do have a single fraction in the numerator. That hasn't, I don't need to change that. But I want one fraction over one fraction. Okay, my denominator as of right now is two separate fractions. I want to add those up. All right, so this kind of goes back to what we were just doing. Adding them, I need common denominators. What was I doing that in? Okay, so I'm gonna multiply this by like an x over x and multiply this by my x plus 4 over x plus 4. I'm getting common denominators. Now they both have x times x plus 4, x times x plus 4. So that is my common denominator of x times x plus 4. In the numerator, I have to distribute in my numerators. Let's see here, I did that in blue, okay. So let's see, I've got an x times 1 is still an x. And this is a big old plus sign, right? I wasn't subtracting the fractions, I was adding the fractions in this case. So I'll keep my addition there. And these guys, I'm gonna have to distribute my 2 to both of those. So I get a 2x and an 8. But okay, my goal was one fraction over one fraction. So I think I reached that goal. I then need to, after I get one fraction over one fraction, I need to turn this whole division, I want to turn it into multiplying by the reciprocal. So I'm going to leave that numerator alone. But instead of division, I will then multiply by the reciprocal of the denominator. So that is going to turn into the x times x plus 4 over this. If I combine my like terms, this is what, like 3x plus 8? You guys okay with the 1x plus 2x giving my 3x? Here's my 3x plus 8. Okay, but the nice thing now is it's all one fraction. I can do, all right, my entire numerator grouped together, my entire denominator, I've got like one fraction, right? Is there anything I can divide out? Do you guys see anything I can get rid of? Any factors? The x plus, okay, the x plus 4 divides out. Anything else? No, you guys are right. That's like as good as it's going to get. So the numerator, like I said, these guys multiply together are 5 times x. The denominator has my 3x plus 8 left, and I think that's as good as it's going to get. Nothing else I can divide out, or I don't think I can factor any further. So I'm done. Okay, so you're gonna see stuff like this on your homework too. Any questions? I think we looked at some of this last time, but. All right, so I'm gonna do number 10. I'm gonna do it a little faster though. You guys ready? Pick up the pace. All right. So I'm gonna multiply this by 2 over 2. Why am I doing 2 over 2 instead of 6 over 6?
So they have the same denominator.
Oh, they both have a denominator of 6. I went with the least common multiple. I mean, 6 and 3 both go into what? 12, 18. They go into bigger numbers.
So you can just times one.
But yeah, I wanted to go into the least common multiple. And you can what?
Do one side and
Yeah. And then, yeah, it is easier when you only have to mess with, in fact, same thing here. I only have to mess with this 5. I'm going to multiply by 2 over 2 again, so that my denominator is now a 10. So I've got like a 2x minus 7 and then all over my 10. But again, goal number 1, I want one fraction over one fraction. So I got to that point. And then at that point, I'm going to turn it, instead of multiplication, or sorry, instead of division, I turned it into multiplying by the reciprocal of this denominator. So the reciprocal, like flip it. All right, at this point, I'm going to try to simplify down as best I can. X minus 2x is a negative x. And I've got it multiplied by 10, so negative 10x. You guys okay with that? Denominator, I've got my 6 times 2x minus 7. I do think there's a bit of simplifying, and this is usually where I see some mistakes on this as well. As far as simplifying goes, I don't see any factors I can really divide out. But if I just look at the constants, can you guys simplify your 10 over 6? Anything goes in evenly to 10 over 6? 2, they're both even numbers. So I can actually reduce that into a 5 and a 3. Yeah, like 10, 6 reduced down to 5/3. Still got my negative, still got my x. I still have the 2x minus 7. But yeah, don't forget to consider your constants. All right. So your homework, ladies and gents, is your 6.4 part 2 homework on big ideas. All right. Those of you guys at home, let me know if you have last minute questions. Otherwise, you are good to go. And those of us in the classroom, let's go ahead and clean up all the desks.